Alright y'all, we're back with Honda Civic Si motor swap. So I'm just going to be showing you some stuff that you got to take off while you're doing this. Right now I'm going to take off this cruise control actuator. So you're going to have three 10mm bolts, one right here, and you're going to have one hiding right here next to the washer fluid cap. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and remove the power steering reservoir out of the way. Just kind of have it over here, whatever, as long as it's out of the way. So we got that out of the way. So I think what I'm going to do next is I'm going to go underneath. There's an O2 sensor connection that's underneath. And then as well, I got to get the bolts for the exhaust here. So I'm going to try and show you guys that. Like I said, I'm trying to show you everything that I'm doing. Not step by step, but just a general overview of what you're going to need to do if you want to pull a motor out of a Honda Civic Si. So let me get to that here. So this is underneath the vehicle. Right here is going to be where you're going to be taking the bolts off. I think they're 13 mils or 12 millimeter. Once you pull those out, then you'll be able to pry this exhaust back, and then obviously disconnect your O2 sensor, which is going to be up top there. There's a connector for it. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, get the O2 sensor connector, and then I'll touch base here and we'll see where we're at. Okay, so after you get those two 12 millimeter nuts off the exhaust bracket, you should be able to pull your exhaust right off, and then it should drop down. The next thing I'm going to be doing is the shift linkage, and I'm going to show you how to do that. Okay, so this is if you were going underneath the vehicle. This is what you're going to see. You got your axle on that side, passenger side. So this is your shift linkage right here. And try not to get the light in here. That's your shift linkage. There's going to be a bolt right here. You're going to take that bolt out. This will drop down. And then right here, you slide this thing back here. It's kind of hard to see, but there's a pin in there. Great. Give me a minute. And line the angle up. There it is right there. That middle pin, if I can hold the light and point. That pin right there is what you got to knock out. You knock that pin out, then you can leave all this on the ground. You don't want to have to. I remember when I was younger, I did my Integra. I couldn't get this pin out, and so what I had to do is disconnect it from back there and then pull this whole entire assembly out. It was funny, but I've learned a lot since then. So pull that bolt there. I'm guessing that's like a 10 mil or a 12 mil bolt, and then knock that pin out there. So that's what I'm gonna do. Okay, so I got the shift linkage disconnected. One thing you're gonna have to be leery of is that this actually goes around here, and it just kind of sits on there. You have to pull this off before you can bang this pin out. This pin right here is the pin that locks it to the transmission. You got to get that pin out, and the way I was able to do it was with these are actually roll pin punches, Mac tools that I got when I was a forklift mechanic here. But if you look right there, you can kind of see, I don't know if you can see what size it is. It is a 1/4 inch roll pin punch. And so I was able to get the shift linkage off. So now I can drop my exhaust down, and then I'm going to check and see what else I got to do. But other than that, things are moving along good. Okay, so we're moving on to pulling the axles out. So first things first, you're going to want to make sure you take off your holding brackets for your ABS and your holding bracket for your brake line. That one's going to be a 12 mil. There's going to be two 10s right here, and there's also going to be a 10 over here. So you're going to take that off, and then from there we're probably going to be getting the upper ball joint nut off, and then we'll get the axle nut. And we should be able to do this without having to pull the caliper and stuff, but we'll see. Okay, correction on that. You got your two 10 mil bolts here that you got to pull. You can leave your 12 mil, you don't have to worry about it. And then you got two 10s over here as well that you're going to have to pull. You're going to have to pull one up here, and then there's going to be one right here, and then this will hang, and then we need to get our axle nut. I believe it's a 32 millimeter, and then we'll go ahead and pull this cotter pin out and get the, it's easy to get out, that's surprising, and get the upper ball joint off. To get this off, what I'm going to do is smack it with a hammer on the knuckle. This will pop. Once this pops here, I'm going to see if I have enough room to pull the axle out or not. We'll see. So also a good practice to get into is putting your bolts back where they go. As you can see, pull them out, put them back, pull them out, put them back. Okay, so now I'm going to get this axle nut, and then we're going to get this out. I'm not sure what size this is. I think it's usually they're 17s, but I guess we'll have to see. Okay, so right now I'm just going to be taking off the axle nut. I'm pretty sure it's a 32. Get your impact, put it on the high setting. Should take it off. Move to the other one. See if you can get your axle moving back and forth. Good. Okay, so we got both our axle nuts off. So now we should be able to... Might have to take tie rod off, I'm not 100% sure yet. But I'm going to take this guy off here. And then, so I'll do that on both sides, and then we'll figure out if we can get the axle out or not. But not only that, we're going to have... so there's this fork here. Man, this light, I tell you. This fork here. There's a bolt that runs through here. I believe there's 17s too, actually. And then if you go up, this will actually come off of this. You don't have to pull the whole strut out. You can just pull this bolt out right here. Once you pull that bolt out, then you can take a hammer and smack down on here. Pull this out of here. Then you'll be able to pull your axle out of your hub, your bearing or whatever. And then yeah, it should work. Let's see if it works. Give it a try. Okay, so you'll go in here, use a 17mm, pull your cotter pin out. I haven't smacked this yet because what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull out this bolt here, 14mm, get it on your impact or whatever, ratchet, zip it out. I sprayed it in here with penetrating fluid. You'll be able to bang this down. This will come down and sit on top of the axle, but then you'll be able to pull it out, which then you'll be able to get the axle out. So I've done the same thing on basically on this side. Took the nut off. I'm gonna get the 14 out, bang that off, and see where it goes from there. Alright, we're back at her. I'm just gonna be pulling this 14mm bolt here for the strut. Get her off. That sounded really happy coming out, hey? At least it didn't break though. You don't want these to break. Alright, let's go try the other side. We will see what happens. Stupid gun. Okay. Now we're back over to this side. Okay. See if it's gonna be nice to me or not. See if it's gonna be nice. Okay, another one there. Here we go. Oh, oh no, don't want to do that. Got her out. So now all I'm going to do is I'm going to get a hammer and smack down on here. And then basically that'll drop down. So we'll see. I'm gonna grab my hammer and see what happens if I bang on it. Let's get them down or not. Sorry. You know what? We gotta get the other bolt. That's okay. So there's a 17mm bolt. You gotta get down here. I believe it's 17. I think it's 17 on both sides if memory serves me correct. So I'm gonna do that and then we'll get that off. Okay, so I got that bolt out. It's right here. This will now, you see how this is here. This will drop down. You'll be able to smack this down and keep the strut itself in. Smack this with a hammer right on the knuckle. That'll pop off and then you should be able to get your axle out. So right now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a hammer and I'm going to smash right here and see if I can get the upper ball joint to pop or not. So let's see here. Popped. And we'll go do the other one. Same thing, it's right up here. Pop. Now you can wiggle this down. And you can see that this is coming down. See how that came off? And then you just take that, pull it around the axle, just like that, and set it down. And then now you'll be able to get your axle out, I'm pretty sure. So do the same thing on this side. You should be able to wiggle this down. This thing should come down here. Wiggle, 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 wiggle. Come on. There we go. Okay. There we go. Nice and gentle. Okay, and then you just put your bolts back where they go. You know, it makes perfect sense. Alright, let's put this one back here. That's where it goes. And then we're just gonna put this one back here. It makes more sense to do this. Then you know where all your bolts go and everything. And then obviously you gotta make sure that you put this in right, or else you're gonna be crying. This always faces the back. You just gotta remember that. Okay, so now with the axle, you should be able to press the axle out like so. I'm gonna see if I can do this one-handed or not. Look at that, one-handed, I got her. Perfect. Okay, so we got that axle partly out. We're just gonna let it hang right there for right now, because I don't want it to just hang. And then we got, like I said, here, we're gonna put our bolt back in here. This one right here. Oh, let's do it on that side. Okay, and then we got this guy here. It's not that it's a big deal or anything, it's just organization is a very important thing when you're working on vehicles. The reason I say that actually is I'll show you. So I have my bolts with my starter, battery tray, my bracket, bolts with the distributor are there. Keep everything organized and it'll go a lot easier. You know, I got the rad fans and all that down there. Okay, so for this one, we are just going to press on here. Push this guy in here, hopefully. Now we just gotta give her a couple taps. And the axle should come out. Kind of hard to do with one hand. Maybe I can prop this up too. Prop it up. See if you can see what I'm doing or not. I don't know. I gotta get this out. I can't do it with one hand. There we go. Come on, get out of there. Be stubborn. Okay, there we go. And then so to get the axles out, what I always do is I'll take a pickle fork or something to that effect. There we go. Use a pickle fork. And then basically what you do, I'll see if I got a light. Yeah, no lights around here. Sometimes. Oh! Okay, so here is the axle. And you're gonna wanna stick, if I can even get the view that I wanna get to show. Okay, so there's the CB axle. You want to try and stick your pry bar like right in here to pry it out. So I'm going to take my pickle fork. I'm going to put it in right here. I'm just going to pry like this. See how it popped out? Perfect. And then you just pull your axle out. The other one is going to be basically the same thing. It's a little bit here, where we go. Maybe if I change the light to spotlight, that'd be better. Okay, so as you can see there, that's the axle. I'm going to stick my pickle fork up into the slot, and I'm just going to go back and forth. Give her a good jump. Right, see, and then that one popped too. If you can see that or not, both axles are popped. And that's just using pickle fork, not even a hammer either. Oh. Oh. Okay, so then I think these are probably gonna drip a little bit of fluid out. So I'm just gonna pull on her and away she comes, just like that. Just put our drive axle there. As you can see, she's out. And then we got our drive axle here. I'm just gonna give her a nice little pull. And out she comes. I just leave it there because I know that axle goes on this side, the other one goes on that side. And that's what I was talking about, how you can leave your struts in. Here, let's change this. My God. So I was talking about how you can leave your struts in, and then you just pull the 17 mil bolt down here, and then your 14 mil bolt here, and you just slide it right off, and Bob's your uncle. Now we're getting a hell of a lot closer than where we were. All right, Dohcgarage. We got the motor out of the Civic. When you start off pulling the motor out, like I showed you guys with the shift linkage, you want to pull these 2 bolts at the bottom here. Those are going to be your T-bracket bolts, or 19 millimeter. Same with this one on top here. So what we ended up doing was we pulled the mounts on the side here, and then we went ahead and pulled the one on the driver's side, and then last we did this T-bracket, which is the way that I normally do it. I leave the bracket in, and then so we're going to get this motor, we're going to get the tranny off, and then we're going to get it put onto this motor here. And the plan is to get this thing in the next 2 days and running and gone. Yeah, that's the update video for Dohcgarage.